Hello everyone, thought I'd make a video of some experimentations I've been doing here with a little bit of playing. What we have here is an ABS module for trailers for air brakes. It's a Haldex unit, most common, most simplest type we have. It's 2 sensor, 1 modulator. When one detects one sensor starts to slow down or slip on the road surface, it lets air out both sides until everything starts matching up again, then it reapplies the brakes. Pretty simple, easy. Here's the module itself. Usually this is normally mounted on top of a valve. There's a bracket that goes on top of the valve. You mount that to it and the valve would stick on the air tank, but I put it on a piece of plywood because I don't have everything here. These 2 relays here are what would normally be the valve. I needed something to trick it into thinking it was connected to a valve. And then on the bottom I have a power relay. You normally have constant power from the tractor, and then a brake, one that comes on with the brake lights. Believe it or not, the brake lights actually don't do anything for it. It's just kind of more or less a backup power supply. I figured that out while I was checking it out. And then down here on this unit I have wheel sensors that are normally on the back side of the hub assembly for the tires, wheels, brakes, all that good stuff. It has a couple Mazda on the trailer. They normally call them tone rings. I think that's like, I don't know, I don't think that's what everybody calls them, but that's what they normally call them on there. Motor here turns everything, and that's what I came up with to make the wheel spin. That is controlled by, over here we have some stepper motor controllers and a pack that runs the relays and the stepper motors and everything else to make it spin. I just thought I'd put that in there. Nothing fancy, nothing spectacular. And then what I would do is I'd hook this up to a laptop, and I'll get all that going here in a minute. Alright, this program here, we can turn on the power of the ABS, power, brake, use little sliders here to control the wheel speeds. This little deal here, turn the motors on. They can go faster, slower, all that good stuff. And now let me resituate things here, like so. So you can see what's going on up here. Alright, and then if I turn the power on, the blue light, that represents power. The red is your brake. And then yellow is, normally there's this light on the side of the trailer for your yellow. That's your fault light. And then over here you have two white ones. One's your hold valve, one's a dump valve. The reason why they're flickering like that is because when it's on, it's constantly checking to make sure the valve is working, it's connected, it's working properly. I was going to eliminate that, you know, wire it up different, but, you know, actually, it's kind of cool, I guess. So I left it. Alright, and then, so when you plug it in, you get power on the blue wire. It's usually either blue wire or a red wire for your power and your brake lights. So that's why I left them as blue and red LEDs. Your power's on. So now we'll start driving. And then get a little speed up. A little bit more speed up. Alright. And then, let's say you're hitting your brakes, you have one side that slows down a little bit. And it turns on the hold valve first and then the dump valve to lower let some air pressure out, and it didn't do what I expected it to do. That was because I went onto a fault. Alright, so now I had a fault. So it'll it'll stop working altogether. And it'll just work like normal brakes after that. We'll turn everything off. Turn the power off, turn the power back on. And it's not showing a fault now. As it went inactive, it's probably, I'm not sure. Oh, but there is a way to check it. Alright, since we had a fault, what you can do, one of the easiest ways to find it is you turn on the brake power and then you cycle your constant power. There's a couple of different modes you can use, but since this was an inactive code, oop, I did that wrong. Hold on one second. You start over. It's supposed to be 1 second intervals. 4, 7, and then it should flash a code. 2, 3, 4. So it's 41, and then one occurrence. 41 is actually slow wheel recovery. So in other words, it let off the brakes, but it didn't speed up like the wheel didn't speed back up like it was supposed to. So it threw a code and went back to normal standard braking operation. And I didn't pay attention if there's any more codes. Alright, and then a long pause, and then you can actually cycle that 3 times and it will clear the code. And that's pretty much basically how it works. So then we can go back to, we'll turn on our wheels, tires again, and get us back up to speed. Yep. And since we're still in diagnostic mode, got to restart it. Alright, no codes. Speed it back up. And we'll try the other side. And we'll do it again. This time it didn't Alright, so now we're going to get the real reason behind a lot of this experimentation. What we have here is a device that you would connect between your power cord and your trailer, and then coming out here is a diagnostic connector that you would normally plug into some sort of scanner or whatever. But in this case, what I did was connect it into, alright, that would be a SN 75176A differential bus transceiver, for anyone that really wants to know. And then an ESP32, which is kind of more or less, it's a small computer that you can do some pretty neat things with. Alright. Alright, so what happens when you connect your trailer? It starts transmitting information to the tractor. One of the things it has to do is it has to tell the light in the cab to turn on or off to let you know if you have an ABS fault. It does that by sending, this is your power wire, middle would be about your 12 volt, 14 volt, you know, whatever you're running at, and then it kind of makes little waves on it. It's pretty cool how it does it. It's trying to replicate it myself, and it's kind of a pain, but you know, that's why I had this, that's what that little adapter does. There's 100, I think it was 100 points in the standard that you have to match. If you make the pattern one way it's a 1, the other way it's a 0. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there's different ways, different patterns to show the beginning of a message, different patterns to show the end of a message. There's quite a bit to it, but all in all, this is what it does and how it communicates. Alright, here's a shot of what we was kind of looking at earlier, but it's over a longer time span. That takes, I think it's about 10 or 11 of those patterns I showed earlier, and then at the end of that, it spits out differential serial byte is more or less what it is. And then after so many of them, it actually builds a message out of it. So what happens is the ABS module itself will normally broadcast the light if it's on or off. The odometer, it has a trip odometer and an overall odometer. I have no idea why it did that, but it did that. The road speed, it tells you. And then the voltage, it'll broadcast now and again. And the status, it also broadcasts. Each one of these is at a different rate. The sensor statuses, I have to ask it to spit that out. Same with the sensor speeds, but I can't get the sensor speeds to work like I thought it should. Can't really, since I don't have access to anything anymore, I can't really check anything else out. I just got all this off the standard that I could get off the internet. It shows an inactive code now for the modulator valve. That's what happened last time I was playing with it. The whole idea was to be able to clear it. Now, alright, since the tablet is crashing, and I know why, we're not going to do anything with it. And what I'll do instead is run it here on this Android Studio. It's running in an emulator. This will be the same thing as running on a tablet, just different screen. The ECU itself does not give me the manufacturer or the product. I have to ask for it. It gives a 5 characters string for the manufacturer. They can sort out, and the PLC select, I think, I don't remember off the top of my head, it was something similar to that it would spit out. And I checked it in the program and made it pretty like it is. The light, it'll tell you if the light is on or off. It'll give you the odometer, trip, or total miles. The road speed it broadcasts. It broadcasts the status, which lets you know if this is actually actively controlling the brakes or not. The sensor statuses and the speeds, I had to ask for the ECU to send. The status, it does work. The speed, I could not get it to. It doesn't follow the standard, so maybe there's something else I have to do to make that work. And then if there's any trouble codes, they'd be showing up down here. So, let me get the wheels spinning again. And now we're up to 6 miles an hour. The status is the wheel is showing that the wheels are turning. And 6 miles an hour. Try to speed it up some. 7, 8. I think the lowest it'll register is 5. Just keep going faster. Alright, so now I'll slow one side down so like it's braking. Having a problem. Okay, oh wow. You see, for a second it did turn on, the status was on, like it was actively braking, or you know, controlling the brakes, and then it switched off, the light came on, and we have now a modulator mechanical failure, which pretty much means it did what it's supposed to. It's just the wheel speed didn't come up as fast as it thought. So it's either a valve problem or, well, pretty much what it thinks is the valve was not doing what it's supposed to do. So, and the light's on. Let's see. Yeah, I've got everything. I'll come over here. The idea was, on a scan tool, you can clear the code. And it should go inactive, and then you clear it again, it'll clear off, but there's something different that you have to do. And in this case, it clears the code and then it kind of bombs after that. So we'll come over here and exit out, start again. And the code is still active, which I believe is because I turned it off. Turn it back on, and then I have to restart this because it's not going to work right. Alright, well, okay. So we stop everything, clear the code. Now, I gotta see what happened. Alright, let me clear out of this again. Come back to it. Alright, every once in a while I have a collision problem and it doesn't give me the manufacturer or the product information, but we'll clear it again. Exit out because it's going to crash, and then turn the power off, turn the power back on, and the light's off this time, so we'll go back to that, go to here. Now it's inactive code, and the product and the manufacturer showed back up, so we'll clear it again. might crash or it might not. But when I turn the power off, it will crash because it'll lose communication. So, clear out of it, power off, power back on, get back to it, and there's no codes. And everything's working good. On a normal scan tool, you don't have to go through all this, but obviously there's something that's not listed in the spec that you have to do, and this, that, and the other. So now we're going to unplug wheel sensor. See how long it takes. And that was relatively quick. Wheel sensor 2, open circuit. Just out of curiosity. So it's still registering one wheel sensor. But I never tried this before. Oh, there we go. One comes on, 2 is error because I have 2 disconnected. And then see how I'm going to plug it back in. So I plug it back in, and now it says it's out of calibration, which that's kind of cool. Never tried that before. So we'll shut the motors off. Come back here. We'll do a clear. And like I said, a normal scan tool, it should go inactive, and the light normally go off, but I couldn't get that to work, so we're going to have to exit out of this so that it doesn't crash. Turn the power off. Back on again. And the light's still on, curiously enough. So normally, since it's inactive, what you have to do is spin the wheel, and the light went out, and it should show. Oop, I turned on the wrong one. I thought that I turned on 2. That's curious. The light turned off, but it still says on. But everything else is working. Well, yeah. I bet if I was to get to... Do I still have that on here? Hold on 1 second. Look at it doesn't say. Alright. That's interesting. There are times where the light is not on, but the cab light will be on. And that kind of caused a little bit of problems when I was doing this, but, you know. And we're back to normal. Alright, we'll exit out of this. Shut the power off. Turn it back on and see if that changes. Alright, power's back on. Back to the app. Now it says the lights are off. We'll clear this again. This time, since they were inactive, it's kind of weird how that works sometimes. But this time, you know, you saw it clear out. So that's pretty much what it was supposed to do. In a nutshell, I wanted to get it to do other things, but I don't work that job anymore. I don't have access to any of the equipment. If I did, I could, take this to work, connect the scan tool and this, and kind of reverse engineer how they did everything, and figure out where the differences are. There's different reset messages in the standard that I tried, different reboot, restart, all kinds of stuff, and it just, whatever I did wasn't working. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. There's some tricks and every manufacturer is going to be a little bit different. But the basic messages that are showing up and are working are what are supposed to be there. So other than that, thanks for watching. Hope it was somewhat enjoyable. It's my first video, so it's definitely, it is what it is. Thanks again.